senior softball, market crashes, discussions about bats and stocks. In this episode, we discover how discipline, emotional control, and knowing when not to react are key both on the field and in the market.
Welcome back to part 2 with financial advisor, author, and professional comedian Mike Parenti. In this episode, Mike shares real-world lessons behind successful investing with a few laughs along the way. I want to turn our attention to senior softball, something that I find really hysterical. And I just want to give you a little background that you may know about this. So senior softball really started in the 30s, and it was started by a female actress, Evelyn Brown Rittenhouse, and they asked her to find a way to entertain the elderly, and she said, why don't they play softball? But there was no running of the bases. It was just walking of the bases. So in 1988, somebody named Bob Mitchell founded Senior Softball USA out in Sacramento, California. And that's kind of when senior softball as we know it, and was split into different age groups, different abilities. And it's almost like a cult. Senior softball, I go to these senior softball games, and it's really an hysterical thing. And it must be great for a comedian because you must get some great material in senior softball. So tell me some stuff about senior softball that you love and that you think is hysterical.
So it was 1988 it was started?
The way it is now, so organized, it revolutionized.
That's pretty recent. I mean, yeah. I didn't realize it was that recent. I mean, look, I play softball because I've loved baseball since I was a kid. That's my sport. I played baseball, and this is just amazing that we have this opportunity to play 2-3 days a week. Most of the guys are from the Northeast, so I love it all. But they take it pretty seriously. I mean, the first week I came out, Kerry, I picked up a bat from the ground, and I get up to bat because I didn't have a bat with me. The guy on second base starts yelling at me. I even know who it is to this day because I had his bat, and no one was allowed to use his bat. So we had to stop the game so he could take the bat away from me and go back to second base. Now, we're all going to be dead soon with senior softballs. Are you really worried about it? In Queens, New York, you bring a bat, people use it. Otherwise, don't bring it, right? So people a little crazy. We get older, we get a little crazier. So you got a little crazy. You know Frank, who used to play third base? He lives in Port St. Lucie.
Yes.
Okay, so the funniest thing was we had an umpire one year. Were you there when we had an umpire?
No, that was before my time.
Okay, we had an umpire one year. We hired I said, we should get an umpire. We got the money, right? So
right.
The guy was probably a pretty bad umpire, right? So
are any of these umpires good, these old guys?
No. He had to call 2 or 3 games because there was so much arguing between the two teams. He had to just cancel the games. This has happened 2 or 3 times. So one guy is arguing with another guy, and Frank starts saying, why do you guys always argue? I never argue. So he started arguing that he never argues. The umpire threw him out for arguing, and he got suspended like 2 games. It's insane. Everybody's insane. You got most of the guys are great, but a few guys just think it's like the World Series. They complain about who's on their team. The sides are fixed. Why is Mike or Kerry on this team? I don't deal with any of that. I just love to play. It doesn't really bother me. But yeah, it is hilarious. I wrote a whole senior softball bit based on the lunacy.
With more screen usage and indoor time, myopia, also known as nearsightedness, is increasing and getting worse in children. Now, certified eye doctors can prescribe MySight One Day, the first and only FDA-approved soft contact lens to slow myopia progression in age-appropriate children. Visit CooperVision.com to find a Brilliant Futures certified eye doctor near you. Talk about some of the characters that play senior softball. I mean, you play in the regular league, but you also play in a more competitive league.
Well, I kind of dropped out of the travel just because I didn't want to travel. I mean, if I'm playing 3 days a week and I'm working full time, I don't really need to travel, 3 hours and sleep over 2 nights to play another 4 games of softball. As much as I love it, I'm not retired like a lot of these guys. So,
right.
But But I mean, it's highly competitive. Some of these 70-year-old guys are banging the ball over the fence every other at bat. I mean, if I was retired, it's one thing, but I'm not. So I'm not doing the travel anymore. But I found Kerry, on the opposite end of this, I've made my best friends there. I have guys I hang out with. My best friends are from senior softball.
Nah, that's great. So tell me about some of the characters, though. You don't have to use their names, but some of the things they do that really make you laugh.
I don't know. I gave you two examples. I don't know what you talking about. Steve, the pitcher. Oh, that other guy. Yeah,
How
the
about
guy's like 100 years old, and they won't put him in the B. Some guys don't want to be in the B division, so in their A division, and they're terrible. They can't run, hit, or throw, and they're still in the wrong division. But their friends recruit them to be together, and then they're the worst team on the league because they picked all their friends instead. I don't know. Are you thinking about someone in particular?
I mean, how about guys that play first base but they can't catch the ball?
Uh, well, we have a guy on first base. He can catch, but his foot's never touching the base. Every time someone throws a ball, he gets off the base. I'm like, you have one job: keep your foot on the base. You don't even have to move; just stay on the base with your foot on the base. Yeah, you can't.
Well, I remember when I came to try out for senior softball, the first thing they asked me if I could bend. And I said, I can't. They go, well, I don't know if you're going to be able to play in the senior softball league.
Well, I started this new bit on stage. I say I'm one of the top players in the league, and you know why? I could do something most guys can't do, and then I bend down and touch my toes. And,
It's funny, and it's funny that the arguing that does go on.
you're arguing, yeah. People like, and they don't let it go. Like they just don't. It's not like a 1 or 2 second argument. I mean, it'll go on for a while. People will walk off the field.
Yeah, they do some people do take it very, very seriously.
Yeah, like this is senior softball. We don't even have an umpire. Like we have a guy volunteering from the game after us to the umpire. It's not like a real game, but just enjoy it.
One of the things I see in senior softball is that I think it decreases me from aging. It makes me feel younger to go out there. I'm always injured. I'm always pulling my hamstring. I'm always hurting my calf. I stretch them. I'm the only one stretching, and I'm the only one getting hurt. But I still go out there and I play injured a lot. So I'm like relegated to playing first base because I'm afraid if I'm in the outfield, I'll run after the ball and I'll pull my hamstring. So, but I really feel that it does psychologically slow down the aging process. So that's one of the reasons I really don't want to ever give it up.
I mean, I think statistically there'd probably be some stats. People who are active when they're older just live longer. I mean, we have guys playing in their 80s, and even in the A division, we have 74-year-old guys that are still really good shape. I mean, they're out there. They're out there in July when it's 100 degrees playing 9 innings. Like these guys are diehards. They don't play golf. This is what they do. So absolutely. Why would we ever stop? What's the point of stopping?
And I get so much, feel good from guys like Coop. We have this guy Coop.
Oh, I love Coop. He's great.
The guy is like 5'4". He pitches. The guy gets a hit almost every time up. He's
a good
76
player.
years old. He's a great player. He's clutch. He could throw a strike. He could hit any part of the plate. He's amazing.
And he's a very nice guy. He's a complimentary guy. He always comes up to me, tells me what good thing I did here or there. I love that man. He's amazing. I love Coop.
And he's such a nice person. And he's given me balls for my son who plays baseball, who's 15 years old. He's always asking me how he's doing. So I want to ask you a lightning round about softball. So, so what do you think is more dangerous, sliding or sneezing wrong?
It depends on how old you are, I guess. I would say sneezing wrong.
And how about with the pregame ritual, stretching or complaining?
Well, most people do both. They complain while they stretch. So I think that's the same thing. No one stretches. No one runs. Why should they stretch?
And what do they complain about the most on the senior softball field?
The other team is stacked with better players, and it's all unjust, and their life is unjust.
So,
or if somebody doesn't cover a base right, the guys who get the most critique are usually the worst players.
And what do you think the fastest thing on the field is? The ball or the excuses?
All the excuses, definitely the excuses.
And the most common injury is it the hamstring, or the ego?
Um, I don't know. It's everybody's hurt every game. Look at you. You can't make one game. You're always hurt. I would say, look, for me, it's the ego. I mean, for me, it's the ego. I'd rather be hurt than my ego hurt. I'm always thinking I could get every ball and get every hit every time. But
So what's the biggest lie told in senior softball?
um, I I went 4 for 4 yesterday.
And they know we're old, so we won't remember the day before.
4 for 4. I've got a hit in a week. What are you talking about?
All right, what's harder to find, a home run or your reading glasses?
Reading glasses, 100%.
And the best position over the age of 60.
Outfield, you don't want to be anywhere near the infield over if you're below 60. Those guys hit the ball hard. They're wearing full catcher's masks at third base and the whole thing. I would think you'd want to be in the outfield, or catching's not a bad position.
And what's the worst phrase to hear during a softball game?
Good try.
And
Good try, which means you missed.
the most valuable the most valuable skills, reflexes or knowing your limits.
Knowing your limits, I guess. That's what you should do so you don't get hurt so much.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, so one of the keys to the hamstring carry is taking rabbit steps when you're running.
Little
No,
steps.
so I changed my running about 10 years ago. I was getting a lot of hamstrings, and I just take very short strides now.
And you're still very fast.
Very short strides, though.
Yeah.
I consciously take short strides, not those
Smart.
long strides.
That's
It's
what
how
gets
you
you.
pull your hamstring.
That's a great point. That's a great point. And one word to describe senior softball.
I don't know about one word. I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing. I think I'm so blessed to be in Jupiter. We have one of the most organized, committed softball leagues in all of South Florida. I think it's amazing. I love it.
They do a great job.
They do a great job. Listen, even for choose up games the day before, you just don't go there and choose up. They separate guys based on positions, and they spend an hour or two the day before. I mean, these people are hardcore. They're great.
And they rank you to make sure it's evenly matched.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. Doesn't always even, but these guys. Where I don't think there's any other league in South Florida that does that. So it's insane, but I love it, and I love the guys there. And really, there's only a couple of guys that are really not nice people, but for the most part, it's great.
And when you traveled with the All-Star team, anything funny that used to happen with that?
Um, I mean, guys we used to play and be done by 12, and then they would drink the rest of the day. And I was like, "No, I'm going to take a nap. I'll have some drinks with you later, but I need a nap first." Um, but those games move fast, and they have 7 run limit innings. I don't know if people know. We have 5 run limit. They have 7. So it's no fun to be down 14-1 after the second inning.
And people still hit the ball over the fence, even at our age.
Yep.
But there is a little thing with the bats, senior bats. There's a little bit more of a trampoline effect.
If you have the right bat, if you have, my bat has no trampoline left. I don't know I had a trampoline last year. It's gone. I guess I need a new bat. These new bats cost $300. I think right out of the wrapper is when they're the best. I think after a year, I think they've lost a lot of their pop. It seems like I don't know. I was at the game with Joe Mercurio yesterday. Hit like 2 or 3 home runs. The bat was right out of the wrapper. We never used it before.
Yeah, that was the same bat I use. But I didn't hit 3 over the fence. He did.
Yeah. But you're hitting plenty over, so you're okay. You still have some trampoline left. I need a new bat.
I'm going to ask you some finance questions now, because that's your main job as somebody who helps people with their finances.
That's where I make my money. Yep.
So, what do you think the biggest mistake people make with their money is? Or you
It's
try
not
to
so much.
avoid them. You try to avoid them from making the mistake.
It's not so much a mistake, Kerry, but everyone has a risk tolerance that's different. And because people, let's say you have 100,000 in the market, if I meet someone and ask them what it's in, they don't really know. They might be in mutual funds or some other products, and they say, "Well, I own some funds," but they don't really know what's in the funds. And if you don't know what you own, how could you really know how risky it is? So I think people don't really understand what they own and how much risk there is. And that's I feel that's my job for people to really find out where they are, because what they say and what they do are two different things. If you have an account at 100 grand, it goes down 10 grand in a week and you're selling, you're in the wrong things. You couldn't take the type of risk in the market, and that happens quite often. So I think people don't understand stocks, and that's why I just wrote a book on stocks. It'll be out in a couple of months, called Stock Tips by the guy from Queens. I tried to break it down a little simple for people to figure out, what do I own here? Like, what is actually, how risky is this? So it's just a matter of people buying things from an advisor saying, you're the expert, I'll do what you want. But that's not really good. You have to tell me how much risk you're willing to take, and I need to explain to you what could happen in each scenario. And guys don't do that.
And when the book comes out, we have to have you on again, so we can sell some books for you.
I
So
appreciate that.
give me a couple of stock tips from the book what you've learned over 40 years of being a financial advisor.
Well, for not everybody should be in individual stocks. However, if you walked into Goldman Sachs and gave them $10 million, what they do is they diversify you amongst all these asset classes, and then they manage your money for a fee. And then if something goes up, they sell it to rebalance the portfolio. It's called diversification. You've heard of that, right, Kerry?
Sure.
Now, that is not how you make money in the market. If Goldman Sachs was really smart, they'd put all your money in gold for a year and you can make a lot of money. They don't do that. So the mistake is that you don't want diversification. If you get a good winning stock, you want to buy more and you want to hold on for dear life. And most people don't do that. They'll sell their winners and hold their losers. And that's what my book's about, saying, hey, you're in the good stuff. You just have to learn how to hold some things a little longer and get rid of the dogs. But most people sell their winners for a profit, and then hopefully their dogs will come back break even. That's not how it works. This is not real estate. So I think diversification is really not the key to making a lot of money in the market. It's finding a great company, buying enough of it, and holding on for dear life, and don't sell it.
And how much of a psychologist do you have to play with your clients?
100%. This is all psychology of money. And so that's why people who don't like to see their account go down, I have to make sure that they're in certain products that don't go down even when the market crashes. And that does exist. And when in April, when the tariffs were crashing the market, people were calling me to sell, and I had to talk them into buying. Now that's a big turnaround for people. But I say, look, you don't need to give me new money, but let's sell this fund or whatever it is, and let's buy some Facebook now. That's the time to get aggressive, is when the market's crashing. That's not the time to sell. So there's a lot of psychology involved in getting people to do that. I got to make it easy for them to understand that I'm trying to help them. So it's not easy, but I've gotten pretty good at it over the years.
And how often can a financial advisor beat the S&P 500?
How can he?
How often does a financial advisor beat the S&P 500?
Well, my goal is not to beat the S&P 500 for some people, because they can't be in the S&P 500 because that's all stocks. But if I'm in all stocks, I better beat the S&P 500. So it depends on the portfolio you're creating. It's not you creating these custom portfolios. Most people aren't 100% in stocks. The S&P 500 is pretty much all tech stocks now, and yeah, anybody could do that. But can you hold it during a downturn? Are you going to add some more when the time is right? So it's just managing money for people not to sell when the market's down. The S&P 500 gets killed once in a while.
So, I mean,
So,
you've seen this for 40 years, the ups and the downs and the ups
yeah.
and the downs. So when you see a down, a crash, a little mini crash, or whatever you want to call it, a downturn, does it bother you anymore? Or do you make money on the downside?
No, I don't make money. My most advisors today, like myself, we have advisory practices. We charge 1 to 1.5% annually. So on $100,000 account, somebody's paying me, let's say, 1,500 a year to manage their money. If the account goes down to 80,000, I'm making less money. I'm making less money on that account. So my salary goes up when the account goes up, and that's how most all advisors get paid today. We don't make money on the way down. We make less money as accounts go lower.
Right, but but shorting stuff but making the account go up. That's kind of what I meant.
What was the question? Can you repeat it?
So to make money as it's going down, to like short stocks to make more money for the account to try to play the down market. Is that something you guys do or not really?
I've never met an advisor that actually does that. That is done, but it's done through like hedge funds. Hedge funds are always trying to prepare themselves for a down market, and they use shorting stocks and buying puts on the market and buying puts on calls on the VIX index to hedge your portfolio. But that's an insurance that costs money. The more you do that, when the S&P is up 20, you're only going to be up 10. So it depends. So I try to manage the account so that they don't go down that much. And so when the market crashes, now I will sell some things, but I'll use that money to buy something that's down a lot. So no, I don't. I'm not actively trying to make money in a down market. That's the answer to the question. I don't know advisor who is.
So how many phone calls do you get once the market goes down? You probably get the people that just know that, the stock market's up about 10% a year for the last, I don't know, 40 years. And then you have people that panic. How many
Yeah,
panickers do you have that you have to talk off the ledge?
not as many as I used to because I'm setting the portfolios and the expectations up a little differently than I used to. Once people are down 10%, I usually no one's calling me. If a guy is a million, it goes to 900,000. He's a big boy. He's not happy, but that's okay. If it goes down 20%, my phone is ringing off the hook. 20% is the trigger where people are selling. They feel they need to do something. They don't want to, they just saw that. And that happens quickly. The last 20% declines we've had have happened like in 2 months. Like it happens quick. So my job is to make sure that those people are in other investments that don't go down 20.
Makes
Is that
sense.
because they're going to sell? I know who's going to sell when it goes down 20. So they can't be fully exposed to stocks. We have some nice alternative investments that hedge on the way down intuitively and in process. So I don't have to worry about it.
And what does a seasoned pro like yourself feel about crypto?
Crypto, people have been asking about silver, gold, and crypto for years. Um, I want to let's say that you want to buy Amazon. I could look at I look at Amazon's profits and their revenue every quarter, and I could see great revenues, great profits. That's what makes stocks go higher. I mean, we understand that, right, Kerry? That's what makes the stock go higher. If a company does 100 million in revenue, then 500 million, that stock's going higher. Crypto and silver gold don't have any of that. It's just demand. It's like bacon or orange juice. It's a commodity. I have no idea how to price that stuff. I'll trade it. I'll trade it, but if it goes up, I'll sell it. I mean, I don't know I don't know what it's worth. What do I know what any of that's worth? Earnings, revenues are much more predictable, and I feel comfortable holding on long term to a company like Nvidia or Amazon that has a great future. I wouldn't feel comfortable buying Bitcoin here and telling a client, don't worry about it. They could lose 50% of their money in 2 months.
And how do you think the entertainment, the financial media has almost become entertainment, with CNBC and Fox Business? Do you think that's helped or hurt the individual investor? And
Well,
how
I
about
tell
how
no,
about
it's a good
you?
question. Great question. I tell people don't watch the news. If people who watch CNBC, they're going to call me when their account's down to sell. The tariffs in April were the end of the world. I mean, the market was correcting, and every expert got on and say how tariffs is going to kill the economy, cause inflation, increase the budget deficit. None of that was true. Now, I'm not saying that they're always wrong, these people, but the knee jerk reaction is almost always wrong. I was buying Tesla and Nvidia in April, and they both have doubled since I purchased them. So, listen, they've got to get clicks, right, Carrie? That's how they make money. So if you watch CNN or Fox News, they're making people angry, but that's what keeps people coming back. This is emotional connection. So that's what the financial news networks have become now. They have to get you excited or nervous, otherwise you're not going to watch again. So you got to really. I tell people, I mean, you own a house. Do you look at the value of your house statement every 5 minutes?
Hmm, right.
I mean, do you?
Yeah,
No,
of
it
course.
goes up
Not,
and
no.
down. One day I'll sell it. People look at their value of their brokerage accounts. They're on an app. While I'm playing softball, people are asking me questions. They're looking at their account at 9:30 in the morning. So that's the problem.
That brings me to why is some very smart people so terrible with their money?
I just got a call from a dermatologist, and she's 55, has never saved a nickel, and she has no money in the market. She goes, I need help. I don't know anything about anything. Because we all find our little stations in life that we're good at. And and that's one of the reasons I wrote that book. Is if anyone reads my book, including a housewife, you'd have so much more of a like, oh, okay, this is not. We have a lot of terminology in my business, like asset allocation, diversification. People don't even understand what it is. They don't. Most people don't know the difference between a bond and a stock. Almost no one. So it's just a matter of being comfortable with it.
And the name of the book is Stock Tips from
From the guy from Queens.
the guy from Queens. I love it.
I got a backwoods Met hat on, overlooking like Manhattan, from the guy from Queens. So you just have to have a little bit more basic understanding of how it all works, and then you could feel a little more comfortable with the fluctuations because it's not the end of the world.
Give me a couple other things in the book that you could share with us before it comes out, and then we'll have you on again.
I appreciate that. I think the most interesting chapter that I did in chapter 2 was where to find great stocks, because that's what all you want to know, right? And at the end of the chapter, I said don't have to read anymore. I just showed you the 2 websites where you could find all the great stocks, and it's public websites and they're free. The 2 websites one is earningswhispers.com. It basically, I could send you the link, but it gives you every company that reported earnings that day, what the expectation was, and what the growth was. These are not financial accounting reports. They're just revenues 100 million, profits 20 million, up 20% from last year. Nice and simple. How's that company? What's that company do? I don't care. Revenue's going up, profits going up. That looks pretty good. So that could eliminate a lot of losing stocks. Losing stocks don't have revenue and profits going up. You don't have to read balance sheets. You don't have to read it. And when someone has a good quarter, it's outlined in green for you. This was good. This is good. So I've been on that website for 20 years. I look at it every day. I follow all earnings reports of all companies. I just look at it quickly every day. It's a page or 2. It gives me a highlight of what companies are doing well right now based on their revenues and profits. It's not hard to read. Do you follow that?
Sure.
So that's earning. And then I follow the stocks that have broken an all-time high. So the last time Ford broke an all-time high was about 30 years ago, meaning it went up to some price, and now it's around 13, and it hasn't broken that price in 30 years. Facebook, Google broke its all-time high today. Amazon broke its all-time high 3 months ago. These are companies that are trading the highest they've ever been in their history. Now, people think, well, why would I buy it now? Why wouldn't you buy it now? Business is good. Stock's going higher. So if you look at those 2 lists every day, there is no great company that hasn't been on both those lists. A great company has to have great earnings, and it has to be on that list. A stock can't go high without being on that list. So you're going to look at those 2 lists, you'll find every great stock in the market. It's the only 2 lists I look at.
So for people listening, today is January 13th, 2026.
Yeah.
So you know what, to give you a little perspective of where we are. And what do you think is the healthiest mindset people could have about money?
You can't take it with you. If you have your health, you can always make money. And a lot of people make a lot of money when they're older, over the age of 50 or 60. So if you haven't made it when you're younger, so I would think if you want to get technical, you want to start saving when you're early, when you're young. The more you save when you're young, the more money you're going to have. My son has been maxing out his 401k, and he's got quite a bit of money in there, and he's only 30. So sock it away and don't look at it. Put in the S&P, your 401k, save until it hurts. But, you can't take it with you.
So at what age should somebody have somebody like you, or just put money in the S&P 500, no load, and forget about it?
As early as possible. The compounding of money is huge. As early as possible. And if you have a company that's going to do some type of match, you want to put in as much as possible, and they're going to do a match, and that gets deducted from your earnings so that you have a tax break as well. So start when you're young. Not everyone, I think, needs an advisor, but I think I would say my accounts said I'm well worth 1%. They're making way more than that extra 1 from my services. but not everybody needs an advisor.
But like, at what money should they have? I mean, if somebody only has 5,000, would an advisor take them, or would they?
Depends. Like I would take them if they have other accounts that they'll consider transferring to me at some point. But if
Let's
they're
say
saying this is,
they're a kid, they're a beginner, they're 25 years old. How much money should they have before they call somebody like you?
it depends. But a $5,000, throw it into a stock and Amazon and forget about it for a couple of years. You really don't really need an advisor, I don't think. Or just do an S&P index, like you said. No, you don't need an advisor.
What's the one financial truth people avoid seeing until it's too late?
Well, I have two types of customers: people who spend more than they make, and people who spend less than they make. And people who spend more than they make, they don't really realize that they've been doing this their whole life. So if you give them 500,000, they're going to spend 600,000. If you give them $500, they're going to spend $600. I know because they call me to take money out of their account all the time, no matter what. So you really should, if you could just spend whatever you make, you have to spend a little less. You got to figure that out somehow. And most people just don't learn that lesson. People who spend more than they make, they do it their whole lives, Kerry. They do it until they die. They'll take out mortgages on their houses. They're just going to spend until they die.
Most people spend more money than they make or less money than they make, in
I
your
think most
experience.
people, yeah, no, most people spend more money than they make.
Oh
Now
my.
you have access to credit cards, lines of credit, and if you're used to a certain lifestyle, they don't cut it back. I mean, Starbucks is $5 for a cup of coffee. They're not going to consider how much they spend on that and cut it back. Especially if you have a family and kids, and you find every month you need to take money out of savings to pay your bills. You got to see if you could just go underneath what you're making. My middle son's very good at that. If you give him 10,000 a year, he'll spend 9. That's just what he does. But not everyone's like that. You have to really know what you're taking in and see what you're spending. If you, in some cases you can't go under, but that's a great lesson. You'll have money your whole life then.
I see some of these senior softball guys with 30 bats. They got to be spending more than they make.
Well, a lot of the senior softball guys are very wealthy. I think
Yeah,
that's all they spend their money on.
yeah, I would
I don't think
agree.
they spend their money on anything else. I never see them out at Portobello's going to dinner. They're packing their lunches.
Touche, good point. So I'm going to give you some rapid fire questions about the market. So a bull market or a bear market, which is more comedy material?
A bear market, because people do crazy things during a bear market. They sell exactly the wrong time, and emotionally they're distressed, so they can't make decisions.
One word to describe Wall Street.
I don't know if I have a particular word for that. I would say it's profitable.
One money habit everyone should stop today.
Spending more than they make.
Best investment. I think you've answered some of these, but we're gonna. But these are good to have. Best investment you ever made, not necessarily financial.
I've made good money in real estate, but one year I was just trading options in my own account, and I ran the account from like 25,000 to a quarter million just trading options. So I don't that wasn't one investment though. I just got on a hot streak. The market was good, and I turned 25 into 250 in like 12 months just trading options. So that was the best year I had making investment transactions, I guess. Uh, I've also bought some stocks. I bought Nibius last year at 23. It's 100 now. It's up 5 times. But
Wow.
I've had that happen quite a bit because I'm always looking for the next big stock. That's what makes me different than any of the other advisor takes your money, they give it to a money manager, and then they're done. They don't do anything. I manage all my own money, so I'm the one calling the shots on everything.
And you're finding this from those two sites you mentioned before.
Yeah, and I'm finding every stock from the two. And the stock I like right now is Hinge, HNGE. It's a you might like this. Actually, it's right up your aisle. It's a new issue. Revenues exploding, profits exploding. They have an app. When people get physical therapy, they have to go to this place and do the bands. They have like an app. You could do this through the app, and they have people that you can log on to like a Zoom call, and you do it at home. This
Interesting.
is yeah. So it's much less expensive than going through your insurance, and this is mostly not even covered through insurance anymore. and it's catching on. That's a great healthcare company that I think could double in the next 12 months.
Wow, thank you for that.
HNGE.
H H
NGE. Hinge.
HMGE. Okay. The worst financial advice people still believe.
I don't know. I wish you would have asked me about this before. Diversification. I just got. I mean, I've inherited accounts that have 100,000 that have like 300 stocks. They're like, it's ridiculous. You can't make money that way. So I have to diversification. Diversification is a hoax. That's a chapter in my book. It's a hoax. It's made by the firms to get you to spread your money out and take a fee, and hopefully you won't lose too much money or make too much money. But when the market goes down, Kerry, everything goes down. Silver, gold, Bitcoin, it all goes down at the same time. So that's the biggest. Diversification is not how you make money in the market. Diversification is finding a winning situation and loading up on it and watching it carefully.
Very different than traditional advice.
Yeah, you're not going to hear that from most guys.
No, that's great that you wrote this book. What do you feel? What do you hope people feel or do differently after hearing this conversation?
Well, between you and I?
and about 100,000 people.
Well, I'm not going to stretch anymore because you're always hurt all the time. Before I play, that obviously doesn't work.
Obviously not. I'm always stretching.
I use Icy Hot on my joints before I play. That loosens them up without stressing.
Well, Mike Parenti, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I hope it wasn't boring. I hope you people.
That was great. People want to find out more about you. How can they do it? Tell us about your book. Tell us about where they can find you if they want to invest.
Well, I have a comedy website, MikeParenti.com, and my cell phone number's on there. My email's on there. I have some videos on there. That would be a way to reach me if anybody wants to reach me for any reason. MikeParenti.com. Does anybody follow? Does anybody watch this podcast?
I hope so. How about if they want to invest with you?
MikeParenti.com. You could call my cell phone numbers on there.
Oh, okay.
Or if you just want to talk stocks, I love talking stocks, as you could see. We could share ideas on stocks.
Well, Mike, thank you for joining me today. You're great. You're funny. You're a wealth of information. I wish you luck on the book, and we'll have you back in 2 months when the book comes out.
Thank you, Kerry. I'll see you on the field. Get yourself better.
I'll see you on the field.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Mike. With more screen usage and indoor time, myopia, also known as nearsightedness, is increasing and getting worse in children. Now, certified eye doctors can prescribe MySight One Day, the first and only FDA-approved soft contact lens to slow myopia progression in age-appropriate children. Visit CooperVision.com to find a Brilliant Futures certified eye doctor near you.